Hey everybody, hello and welcome to the British Fantasy Society's YouTube channel slash blog slash wherever you are consuming this content. My name is Lauren and I am here with the wonderful slash busiest people in speculative fiction, Marie O'Regan and Paul Kane. Guys, welcome and thank you very much for taking the time.
Well, thank you for
Hello.
hosting us.
We are, of course, speaking for Witchcraft, the latest Beyond and Within beautiful book
Very
from
pretty.
Flame Tree. I just cover all of their books. Um, but before we sort of go directly into that, like I said, you're both very accomplished writers in your own rights. You're no stranger to an anthology. I think it's what a lot of people probably know you for these days. So maybe if we just start, how did you actually get involved in not just editing anthologies, but putting them together?
It was when we were in the BFS because I was chair and Paul was special
Mm.
publications editor, and
Mm,
we did some anthologies, did some projects as part of the special publications, didn't we? And
yeah,
I think
yeah.
BFS A Celebration was the first anthology we put together.
We did a calendar,
We did a
two
calendar. The
calendars.
first anthology we put together was
Mm,
that, and yeah, we did a
yeah,
fantasy calendar, a horror calendar. You'd done anthologies before,
yeah.
Mm.
but
Like small press ones, and you'd done the BFS like the
I'd
journals and things,
edited
hadn't you?
Prism and Dark Horizons, the newsletter and the fiction magazine at the time.
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
Hmm.
And we just started working together, really, didn't we? I
Mhm.
mean, because we were working so closely on that stuff, when we'd done Celebration, we just started batting some ideas around, really, didn't we? And
Yeah.
one of them was because the Hellraiser guy for my
Best.
for
Yeah,
my we kind of thought about doing a Hellbound Heart, didn't we?
that's right.
Like an anthology that was Hellraiser stories.
Hmm.
Clive had been to Nottingham again,
Yeah, we
so
brought him in as guest of honor in 2006.
2006,
Yeah,
yeah. So we just kind of like it went from there, really, and then
yeah.
we just carried on, never stopped, did we?
We like doing them. We enjoy the process, don't we?
Yeah,
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 yeah. So it's all the British Fantasy Society's fault, right? Basically,
It
that
is,
you.
yeah.
Yeah,
All their
yeah,
yeah.
fault.
pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
I'll take it. Cool. So you say you enjoy the process. Can you maybe just talk us a little bit through your process? I mean, you bat ideas around like how do you actually put together one of these anthologies?
I mean, every so often we like to sort of go out for lunch, don't we? And
Yeah,
then sort of spend the afternoon in the pub. And it's usually we end up talking about work. Everybody does,
yeah.
and it's like, what would be a cool idea? And we just come up with what we're interested in and what we
Mm,
think would work. I mean, a few anthologies have been the idea of the publisher.
Mm,
And they
yeah.
came to us and said, would you do this? In These Hallowed Halls was one, and The
Mm,
Secret Romantics Book of Magic
mm,
was the second. The rest are all things we sort of said it'd be really cool to do a book of stories about
yeah, yeah.
whatever it
Whatever
is.
it's like
yeah.
And
body
then,
horror or whatever, you know. It's
yeah,
the Carnival of Horror as well, wasn't there?
Carnival, yeah, that was PS.
That
We
was
pitched that
PS.
to Pete at
Circus stuff.
World Horror in 2010.
I think so,
I
yeah.
think so,
I think
yeah, they
that's
were
it.
running pitch sessions at World Horror in 2010, so we pitched it to Pete Crowther there.
Yeah.
And of course, he's a huge Bradbury fan, and
I mean,
something wicked this way comes. So,
Mm,
we could be like cooking of an evening though, and just like throw ideas around, or we could be. I mean, we were in the opticians, weren't we, earlier this year, and came up with
we
something. It
did.
was it could be anywhere, and just like because we're very rarely sort of out of each other's company, we just bat things
mm.
around all the time, don't we? Wouldn't it be
Yeah,
cool if this,
yeah.
for
Yeah.
our fiction as well as like
Then we
anthologies?
start who'd be who we think would be a good fit and
Mm.
might be willing or have time to write something for us.
Yeah,
Mm,
And then we go to the publisher with the idea
mm,
and some potential names, don't we? And then we
yeah.
kind of take it from there,
Just take
really.
it
I
from
mean, we've been
there.
working with I mean, Pocketbooks was Hellbound Hearts,
Yeah,
Constable and Robinson was The Mammoths,
yeah,
and since then Titan and Flame Tree as well. We basically just email with the ideas, and of
yeah,
course, because we've been doing them for a
yeah.
long
Long
time now,
time.
mm.
it's
Yeah,
kind of a known relationship, isn't it? We've been
mm,
working with them all, so we're
yeah.
just like, yeah, we like this idea, or
And I mean, not everyone. You might pitch about.
not everything that we pitch gets
Yeah,
picked up,
you could
but
pitch 10 ideas and they might like one of them or something, it's so it's
Mm.
always like a rolling thing of having ideas, isn't it? Whatever you're doing, whether it's fiction or anthologies, it's always like having ideas and
yeah,
just jotting them down and seeing
that
if they
could be
can
fun. And then
expand.
we sort of, and either it will have legs
Yeah,
or it won't,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's pretty much it.
your brains, your home life, your emails are just full of ideas. So we need to protect that at all costs. Uh,
Lots of books, lots of
Oh,
notebooks.
the whole house is full of books.
Full of
Yeah,
books.
yeah.
Yeah.
and you obviously, as you say, you know, you think about who would fit an anthology. You have a lot of you know, invited guests to be in them, but you also do, and especially have done with
Mm.
witchcraft, do open submissions as well.
Hmm.
We have obviously a lot of writers, especially sort of new writers that are emerging as part of our membership community. So, could you talk us through how you actually make your choices, and how maybe people might be able to stand out a little bit if they're submitting and you're getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things?
I mean, the thing is, I mean, with Flame Tree, it's very much their policy to include usually four, sometimes five slots from blind submissions. But I mean, what we tend to do is Flame Tree do the first round of going through stories, and they send us a short list of what
A short list of
a short
probably about 130,000 words or something
ish,
like that
yeah.
ish, isn't
And
it?
You
So
then,
we'll
yeah.
read all of
yeah,
those,
yeah.
all of those. And then if we can't come up with four or five out of that, it's never come up yet.
No,
But we do
touch wood.
know, definitely touch wood.
Yeah,
We do know that if we couldn't come up with four or five out of that, they'd just ask for more and they'd
yeah,
send us another 10 or whatever it is until we have enough. But
yeah.
so far, that first shortlist has been enough. When we get the shortlist, it's anonymous. We don't know what's
Mm,
come
No.
at all. So it's a matter of A, do we like the story and the writing? B, does it fill a gap
mm,
Mm.
that we have?
Yeah.
yeah.
And I read them, you read them. We both come up with
Mm.
like a score,
Like a marking
just as
system,
a
don't
rough
we?
sort of sift, see
Yeah.
where we are. We're usually within a point
We're
of
not,
each other, aren't we,
yeah, we're
really?
not far off each other, really.
And then we just sit and chat about them. And because when you're putting it together, it's not just it's theme, it's story, it's the writing, obviously, it's
Length as well,
length of
how
the
long they
story,
are.
whether they're first person, third person, whatever,
Yeah.
you know, so you want to have a nice flow.
But I always say, I mean, in an interview we did recently, I always say try and go for something that's think outside the box.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean think like in a mad way, but
Follow the guidelines, but
yeah,
try and think of something that's
if
not the
it,
first thing that comes to
yeah, if
mind.
it's something like witchcraft, say, you know, perhaps don't have like the cauldron and the,
Yeah.
and the you know,
Yeah, yeah.
broomstick and everything. Try and think of something that might not have been done before.
Yeah.
And I know that's hard to do, but or
We
give it
like
a
a
new
really
spin.
wide range of
Yeah,
stories as well.
yeah. We go to a lot
Different
of
folklores, different cultures,
yeah,
all
different people
sorts, just
around the
a
world.
wide range of stories
Mm.
Yeah.
and authors, and just be as representative as we can and varied as we can. Because I think, even as readers, if I pick up an anthology, I mean, that
Mm.
doesn't really happen very often anymore, but I don't have time to read very many of them. But there's the themed ones sometimes for me that I have read. If got like 20 stories or 18 stories, if they're on very similar themes,
Yeah.
you risk boring
Yeah,
someone,
it
don't you?
can get a bit samey, can't it,
Yeah, so we
sometimes,
try
but
and make sure it's as varied as we can get.
yeah, yeah, and as diverse as possible. And
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the open submission stuff that comes in are from like around, you know, Flame Tree gets stuff from
Mm,
around the world and from, you know, different ethnicities and, you know, different
different authors.
sexualities. And
Yeah,
it's just great.
it makes for a nice varied list, doesn't
Yeah,
it? Which is
yeah,
great.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we go for those kind of things as well. So it's a good fit with the open submissions. And I mean, sometimes it's just a sense of,
But we only find out who we've got in the blind submissions once we've
yeah,
chosen the
once we've
stories, and
chosen.
we go back to our editor at Flame Tree and said we like these, and then we get
I
who
think,
they're by and contact details, don't we? So we can
yeah, it's kind of
start editing them.
sometimes it's just kind of like that spider sense of knowing what it is. And it's like you start reading it and you go, that's one. That
Mm.
might not be that's okay, but it might not fit with, and
Mhm.
it's just suddenly, you know, you kind of like go, oh, yes, I think that one might.
But
But
we always
it's
read the whole story because sometimes
yeah.
they can
Mhm.
surprise you. You know, you think you've got
Yeah.
a certain thing, and then all of a sudden it will turn left, and you think, oh, okay.
But I think that kind of comes from experience. It comes from like many years of having done this, like
Many.
many years, like you know, going back to like the 90s for me
You,
anyway, from
yeah.
small presses. It just reading lots of stories. I mean, going back to childhood and reading stories and
Mm.
writing stories
Read a lot of
ourselves, and
anthologies growing up.
it's
Yeah.
just you get a sense of what's going to work and what won't work. I think that's like not something you can you sort of trained to do. You've got to sort of hone it yourself, really, haven't you? You've sort of got to, the more experience you've got in that, reading, writing it, the more you know what makes a good story work, I think.
Yeah.
That's all. It's not,
Yeah.
it's kind of an alchemy to it, isn't there? A little bit.
You know whether something's gelling or not.
And also what you would like to read yourself.
Mm.
You know yourself what you like to sit down then and read a book of, what would I like to read in a witchcraft story? And you know yourself what you kind of like, what would entertain you.
Yeah.
And
I like being surprised as well.
yeah. Think outside
That's
the
always
box.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and and as you say, like, what would you like to read yourselves? There is an element of yourselves in all of the anthologies and all the collections you put together. So even if someone does, even if someone doesn't get through, it's just it wasn't for this collection. It didn't.
Well, it may not be that we didn't like the writing. It may just be that that we already had something that was like that one, or it just didn't quite flow with the others. There's lots of reasons, but certainly don't be discouraged if you don't get into one. It's entirely possible you might get into another one.
The nice thing about it is that we've been there, so we've submitted to, we've done things like this. We've submitted to various anthologies over the years, and even the small presses, you kind of used to fire off things back in the day, fire them off via post and wait for it to come back as rejection or whatever. And it's
honestly, I started with email. That was you.
Yeah, that was me. So yeah, but we've been there, so we know what it's like, and it is nice to hear that it's not it might not be about your writing. It might just be it didn't fit that thing. It didn't didn't particularly grab us this time round, but having a go next time. And that's
or we might have loved it, but it just didn't fit with the rest of the story.
Or it might have been 8,000 words longer. We can I really love this, but we haven't got the space.
Yeah. It's not necessarily a reflection on the story. So always try again.
Yeah.
I always think of putting together mixtapes like back in the day. Whenever I hear anyone talking about a anthology or editing a collection, it's like everything has to fit, everything has to flow, tell the right story.
Totally. Yeah.
So you mentioned a few times there this one, so let's jump into this one because this is the reason why we are chatting. This is your second collection for Flame Trees Beyond and Within. You did your folk horror one, and these collections have quite a reputation now. So what is it about the world of myth and folklore that attract you both as creatives, whether it is in writing or in editing?
You want to take that first?
I mean, we both write in the speculative genre, predominantly horror on that side of things, and maybe dark fantasy. But I think myth and folklore are the ideal proving ground for that type of fiction. Really, there's an imagination, there's a scope that maybe I wouldn't find if I was writing something mainstream. That's a very different beast, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just think, well, I mean, for me personally, I mean, I grew up watching and reading a lot of folk horror stuff and a lot of mythology stuff and everything. So in the films like Blood on Satan's Claw and Witchfinder General, the big three, Wicker Man, all that kind of stuff, and just watching when I was little, and just reading folk horror tales and things. I shouldn't really have been, but I was. And I think it's just kind of that kind of like embeds itself in you, and I think
I've loved this stuff since
exactly
I was 9.
Yeah. With you, it's kind of like the ghosty stuff and the supernatural
love
stuff,
a ghost story.
Sort of like hit with you, and but yeah, I think it's when something's been with you all your life, it's kind of quite nice to be able to give something back as well. You get like we can contribute a little bit to that. Long line of people that have come before us, whether it's M.R. James or whatever it is, or Macken, or people writing I mean, we did the cursed anthologies as well, which were like dark fairy tales, which was great because that was like going back to the Grimms and
which I love,
all the things that you might have been read as a kid, and Hansel and Gretel and Red Riding and everything else, and it's like all this stuff kind of is like in a melting pot in your head. Really, isn't it? I think I don't know what it was like for you, but that was basically my sort of...
I mean, I grew up reading, I mean, obviously, as a little kid, you get read the fairy tales, don't you, and all those kind of things. And then I started on horror when I was 9. There's a story I always tell. I actually have it here next to my desk. It's always here. When I was 9 in school, Thin Air,
Okay.
which is all,
Anthology
it's got
version.
things like The Monkey's Paw,
Yeah. Oh,
A Phantom of the Seas, The Open Window.
all
It's
the good
full of
stuff.
classics. And I took this
All the
out
good
every
stuff.
week for 2 years until they gave it to me when I left primary school. But that's what started me reading horror, and I've been reading it ever since.
Mm,
But yeah, I think there's folklore, all that kind of thing. If you read or write the fiction, it's kind of a connection to the past as
Mm.
well. You know, the
mm,
superstitions you grow up with, or you hear
Yeah.
about the myths, the legends. It's
Yeah.
kind of an ongoing of that tradition,
And
isn't
I
it?
think the more unstable the times as well, the more that kind of comes to the fore,
Mm,
like it did in the 70s, and it is doing again at the moment. There's
yeah.
a big kind of like folk horror wave at the moment, and witchcraft and things like that. And I think the more instability there is in society, the more people look to the past, as you say. The
Yeah.
more people are looking at like religion, new religions versus old religions, and all that kind of stuff. The
Mm,
urban versus rural and everything, and I think it's just the time is just luckily for us, the time is like right to
mm.
put some of this stuff back into the back into that world, and we're fortunate enough to be able to do
And
that.
I think the good thing with anthologies as well is it introduces you to writing you might not have come across.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
an
absolutely.
anthology is a great way of
Mm.
widening like the readers that
Oh,
the
absolutely.
writers that you read.
The amount of reviews we get that say, I found my new favorite author this way by
Mhm.
just reading that short story. And I went away and read their back catalogue, which is fantastic because it's like, you're helping authors as well.
Yeah.
So that's great, especially if they're newer ones that might not have done too much. And, you can send them, send people away to go and look at magazines that they might have appeared in. And that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
That's what was done for us when we were first starting out, people helping us. It's nice to be able to kind of give that back.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You touched on so many things there that like I do want to talk about. I'm just trying to think in my head what's the most logical way to do this. But let's talk about that idea. Paul, you mentioned the big three, and you do mention that in your intro
Yeah.
to witchcraft as well. And your last collection was folk horror. This one is witches. You say that they go hand in hand. I'm
Mm.
just wondering why you think that is. Why is it that witches and folk horror are such bedmates, I guess?
I think because folk horror and folklore and superstition, a lot of it is to do with wise women, that kind of thing.
Mm.
One feeds into the other in a way, so it's
Mm.
they do kind of become intermingled.
Well, we got quite a few submissions and quite a few stories from people that were to do with witches in the folk horror one. So as we say in the introduction, it was like that was a no-brainer to maybe
That's the next step.
pitch
Yeah.
that next. That was the next
Mm.
logical thing to kind of do, because we only kind of touched on it in the first one, so it was nice to be able to do an entire anthology that was just because witchcraft is like everywhere at the moment. There are so many like witchcraft books and films and things. It's like that was the next logical thing to do, and it is all connected to that. And then we've both
Mm.
got a like interest in it. I mean, I wrote Arcana a few years ago, and you've written witchcraft stories as well. We are very interested in that side of it as well, aren't we? In magic
Mm.
and and I mean, one of our favorite. We're coming up to our ghost stories for Christmas rewatch, aren't we? And one of our both our favorites is the ash tree.
Favorite might not be that one. Terrified me growing up.
So yeah,
It's the only one that gave me nightmares was that one. Yeah.
the story and that adaptation from the 70s is like we when we first got together, when we were first like chatting, we were best friends first, that would come up. Oh, do you remember the spiders in the tree? And
Yeah,
we
I
were
do
like, oh,
remember
yes.
this.
So
I wish I did not remember the
yeah,
spiders in the
so
attic.
we rewatch that every year. So it's things like that, isn't it? It's like I just think that it's got such a resonance, hasn't it?
Mm.
Especially at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah. And as you say, it is having a resurgence. Witchlit is the big thing, has been for the last
Mm.
couple of years. And it's really running the gamut from horror and the traditional dark fairy tales and all that, all the way through to like
Yeah.
romance and
Mhm.
things
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So what is it about the witch you think is so enduring?
I think it's empowering. I mean, for women especially, it's an empowering kind of story.
Yeah.
It's women taking their own well, claiming their own power and using it either to protect themselves or others. And that's something that resonates, I think, with a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the, again, it's like it's a way of. We were watching something the other day, and it was. I mean, we watched Suspiria, didn't we, the other night? And that's a fantastic film. I mean, I love the Dario Argento one, but I really love the remake. Well, we both love the remake, don't we? And that couldn't be any more about the empowerment
Empowerment of women,
of
yeah.
women. And it's just a fantastic film, and that those kind of themes, I think, are why at the moment, especially, it's a big thing, isn't it? Because there are like moves to try and take women's rights away. And a lot of women are kind of fighting back against that, which is fantastic. And I do think that's why maybe at the moment that it's resonating.
Tracy Fahy wrote me a great absinthe that deals with that called They
Yeah.
Shut Me Up.
Yes.
Oh,
I would absolutely
brilliant.
recommend
Yeah.
that one to
Yes.
anyone interested in that kind
Yeah.
of fiction. It's up there
Yeah.
somewhere.
With all your
It's behind
absence.
me somewhere as well.
Or Shunk of Absinthe. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
absolutely. And you've got in this collection as well. And you said this folk horror collection, no, this witchcraft collection. There's a lot of feminist rage, and I think that's as you said earlier, it's reflective of the times. It's
Yeah.
reflective of the witch themselves.
Mm.
Can you maybe just expand a little bit on that idea of the witch reflecting the times, and when we're in these sort of more crazy times or more sort of unstable times, we turn towards the folklore and the witches and the magical sort of things. Why do you think that is?
I think there's a comfort in revisiting the old,
Yeah.
which takes you into the folklore and traditions and superstitions, and there's an appeal, and there's also a form of escapism in the literature of that. It's the world's not the nicest place at the moment, especially, and there is a comfort, I think, in escaping into the traditional, even if it's a modern telling. It's that carrying on of the traditional voice, I think, and I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Do you think maybe there's an element as well of it being we know now why the witch hunts happened
Yeah,
and what men were trying to do back then and everything? So we're kind of aware of that now, and that you can see like behind the curtain that's almost like they're trying to do that again. Some people are trying to do that again, and I think that maybe that's why there's a resurgence
yeah,
at the moment, because you're kind of looking at
it resonates, doesn't it?
it does, yeah, yeah, and also that element of like, or what if they really did have these powers? The men wouldn't stand a chance. It's like, which is it's interesting to think about. But yeah, I think when you look at the world at the moment, it's quite a scary place for a lot of people. So I think there is comfort in that. Being able to it's wish fulfillment as well, isn't it? I suppose in a way it's like, I mean, I was talking in an interview the other day, a podcast interview, and it was about like the monster being, in why do you think horror's having a resurgence? Why do you think it's
Same
popular at the
thing.
moment? It's because you can kind of like
It's a safe
deal with
border, isn't it?
yeah, it's a safe scare. You can deal with the monster. You can switch the TV off. You can put the book down and be scared in a safe way. So I think maybe there's kind of a wish fulfillment thing there that
There is a bit of a correlation, isn't there? If you look back at times of like great upheaval, there is a big resurgence in that kind of
yeah,
thing.
absolutely. Yeah, there was in the 30s and 40s as well. It's,
In the 60s, yeah.
in the 60s, and I think there is kind of that kind of almost look into something to, what if I did have this power to destroy a monster or whatever it is, and maybe it's that wish fulfillment that's coming across in the witchcraft thing as well. If you haven't perhaps got as much power as you would like in real life, perhaps that there's a touch of like wish fulfillment in that Freudian slip. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think there might be an element of that as well to it, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reclaiming of power sort of thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about this book now that I've asked you 1,000 other questions. But the whole point to us chatting is, of course, again, let's just show it, Witchcraft Beyond and
It's so
Within.
pretty.
It's so pretty, and it's all foily. Oh, you got your own as well. Damn it, I thought I had the only copy. So tell us a little bit about this. We've talked about witches in general. We've talked about the ideas behind it, but this particular collection, you've assembled a hell of a table of contents as well. You've got some great writers in there. Some great stories. Tell us a little, what's the elevator pitch for this one? Tell us about the collection.
We just basically wanted to explore. I mean, we loved the idea of a witchcraft anthology. That was our basic our
Mm.
jumping off point, but we wanted to explore a range of it across cultures, across times, contemporary spins on it as well as
Mm.
traditional. And that was really our wish list, wasn't it? A
Mm.
big,
Yeah.
wide-ranging anthology of witchcraft stories from all cultures and all times.
Again, like an extension of the folk
Yeah.
horror one, which was the same thing, but we had a couple of witchcraft things in there. Why don't we kind of zero in on that? And
Yeah.
it's such a big topic.
Yeah, we've only barely touched on things with the folklore. We just
Yeah,
thought we could take it a bit deeper with this one.
it deserves a bigger kind of like a bit more space.
Yeah,
So you can easily fill a kind of an anthology with
easily.
witchcraft stories. Yeah, you could fill millions of them, but we fancied kind of having a go at that, didn't we?
Mm.
So that was a nice thing to do. So I mean, there's a small film around at the moment as well called Wicked,
Yeah.
which is witches are everywhere. So it's kind of that stuff is sort of everywhere. That you're watching it on the TV, you're reading it. So it's like, yeah, it's a no-brainer
You kind of can't help being
no,
subjected to that influence, really. I suppose it's in that public consciousness at the
yeah,
moment, and we just kind of thought
yeah. And also,
there's room for more.
you're always looking for something that you hope will be popular with the reader as well. So it's like, you want the book to do, at the end of the day, you want the book to do well for the publisher
I
as
think
well.
part
So,
of any project really is the timing of it as well.
yeah,
And we just thought it would be a good time
yeah, it just seems like the right time,
for all
doesn't
those
it?
reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, both of us have kind of thought about it a lot in the past and various things. And this stuff tends to kind of bubble up when it's in the zeitgeist. So it's like, this is the right time to be doing something like
Yeah.
that, I think. It's probably a crucial time to be doing something like that, actually. So I think it just came from that, really. That was the sort of elevator pitch. We'll do the folk horror thing, but we'll zero in on witches this time,
Mhm.
and expand that. So
And I appreciate this is like asking you for your favorite children, but like, do you have any favorite stories in here? Anyone that you're like, no, if you're going to dip in and out, this is the one you want to start with?
Not really.
More, don't we?
That's the thing. By this point, we have read each of them so many times, it's impossible to pick
Yeah.
one out of it.
Yeah, it is.
There's not one in there that we don't like. I mean,
They're all excellent.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like you can't
choose.
they're-
We've lost all objectivity on it by now.
And it's like, yeah, and it's like that thing of they're all excellent in different ways.
Yeah.
They're all entertaining. They're all saying something that the author wanted to put across. It's just a fun. We're very lucky with
We've been very
authors.
lucky
We've been
with
very
them,
lucky, historically and with this one. We're always very lucky, and we're always like very grateful for the work that authors put in. And fortunate we can give them a kind of a showcase, can't we?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's hard to pick one.
Pick one.
Can't pick one. Just pick one. I mean, buy the book and pick your own.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And because it is a flame tree, you've got this nice little yellow where you can mark all of your favorites.
Yes. And the artwork.
The art, yeah, it really is. It really is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So again, another horrible question that everybody hates, but who do you think the ideal reader is for this collection? Who do you think is really going to get into it?
That is a hard question.
Just
pretty much anyone with an interest in genre fiction, really.
Really.
We always try and get as wide a range as we can so that there's something in there. Pretty much whatever your taste will be.
Yeah.
There'll be something in there that you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, obviously very traditionally horror writers like Ali Wilkes in there, but then you've also got Eliza Chan, who is, as we know, very fantasy, a heavy writer, Eugene Bacon, sci-fi. So you've got lots and lots of breadth in there as well.
Yeah.
It's great. So yeah, something for everyone, as they say.
Yeah, that's what we always try and do. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of, you say witchcraft to an author, so you could say it to 10, 12, 18, 20 authors, and everybody's got a different take on it, which is what makes the book so amazing. It's everybody's got a different version of what witchcraft is to them, and it's just So if one perhaps didn't resonate as much with you as you wanted it to, the next one probably will, or and that's not a reflection on the authors at all. It's just you might not connect with that particular story. You're not going to like all the stories.
Everyone likes different things, don't they? But what we're hoping is that there's wide enough range in there that there'll be something that you like.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean,
we love working on it, and we're really happy with the stories we've got, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's entertaining.
So I was just going to say, it's the beauty of the collection that, there's going to be some you like more than others. And yeah.
Well, it says a lot that you can, we've read this a lot of times. You go through that, and when you're putting it together, you have to pick the order and everything else. And, we've read it a lot of times, and we don't get bored by any of it. So it's like, that's a testament to the writing inside it. So the reader hopefully will be like the same. They'll pick it up and maybe go back to it again and again, or just pick up like one that they thought, I'll go back and reread that one because that was, and that's what we're hoping for. That kind of
true. Actually, I've never got
reaction.
Even on like the 9th, 10th read, I haven't got bored with anything. No,
we never have with any of our anthologies. That's the nice thing about them. You can go, because you do have to go through a book a lot of times, whether it's your own.
I mean, you go through the edits and then you put it all together, so you're reading it again. Probably more than once to do that.
Yeah.
Then you inevitably find something that you've missed because it's just you go word blind by the end. So that goes, so you have to read it again and then go through
back again.
Then it goes to the publisher and then it comes back with their proofreading and copy edits, and then it goes back to them again. And it's just, there's a lot of reads.
But it's something that you would, I'd quite happily sit down and read of an evening now, and I've read it quite a lot of times. So that says a lot, doesn't it? It says, that you could quite happily go revisit it, and if I've read it this many times and I think that, then hopefully the reader will feel the same. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. As you say, Witchcraft from the Beyond and Within series through Flame Tree is out in January. Yes, very much. And check out social media and websites for all of the other bits and pieces.